Live TV, here we go. Welcome to the 93rd Oscars.
Okay, so Oscars. I've held this in for 2 days, Mary, because I'm waiting for you to see it.
I couldn't watch it yet. I do apologise. I understand your frustration.
No, it's fine, but you've seen it now.
I have seen it.
You've seen it now, as of about 10 minutes ago.
Yes, as of about 10 minutes ago.
I had to stop myself from saying everything to you before we actually started recording.
I know, yeah. It was literally like
pouring out of me.
Yeah, exactly. So you're the one who told me that it was going to be done in a train station, which I found out the night of. And I was like,
I think I did too. I didn't realise.
It's in a train station. Are you joking? But it actually worked okay. I think it
looked really nice.
To work. I did like it. It was weird. It was a very cozy, small atmosphere, even with the amount of people. It was tiny.
It was a good 170 or something.
Yeah, it didn't feel like that though. It did feel really intimate. But it worked. And the no host, the presenters, I prefer it,
I do too, because sometimes you can get stuck with a host that you hate.
Yeah. I mean, I love, usually, 85-90% of the time, I enjoy the opening monologue.
Yeah.
But I am totally okay without it. It was fine.
Yeah.
Didn't have a problem with that. Speeches were fairly good. I have to admit, I did skip through a few of the smaller, more insignificant awards.
That happens though, doesn't it?
But I think for the most part, it was really good.
What was good about them is that they didn't limit the speeches. From what I could see, they didn't play people off. They didn't have a lighting up and down situation.
Yeah, there were a few that were a little bit longer, but they didn't seem to be any kind of like rushing them off, which I always think is horrible anyway. It's so disrespectful and it's so embarrassing.
Yeah, it's the worst when someone doesn't get to speak and they end up walking off and you look at them going, I can tell she wanted to say something.
That was my moment in life and you've just rushed me off and I didn't get to say anything. So yeah, I liked that as well. I thought that was okay.
I think all round, you've got to give them credit, given that we've not seen a live event for well over a year.
Yeah, exactly.
The measures that they went to, but were almost invisible. Like you couldn't tell that really, apart from Frances McDormand sat in her mask, that there was no pandemic at all.
Yeah, there must have been so much going on that we didn't see to make that work. So I applaud that, definitely.
And the fact that they banned the use of Zoom and iPhones and they actually set up satellite feeds. So they had the Belfast, London and the Sydney
really
ones. I thought
good.
it was really seamless.
That worked well. But they didn't implement it as much as I would have expected. I suppose because the ones that were there didn't win. So, I mean, you can never predict that. But it wasn't implemented as much as you would have thought, considering they'd gone to the effort to do it. Yeah. If you know what I mean. That's the only thing I would say, but it was fine.
Yeah. It felt to me a bit like the Golden Globes, actually, or one of the luncheons that they do. It was quite intimate and felt very contemporary, actually. It didn't feel like it was in an old theatre. It felt like it was set in 2021, which is not a criticism of how it's usually set, but I thought it worked.
It did work, but I like the old Hollywood style.
Yeah, it's got to go back to that.
Yeah, it's missing, and I do hope that next year it'll be back in the Dolby Theatre and it'll all be back to normal, and that I might actually have seen the films. Would be a great improvement.
I'm sure you'll get back into the swing.
I hope so. I'm just waiting for cinemas to open. Yeah. Are we discussing what didn't work first, or should we do the awards?
I think we should leave that
first?
To the end. I think I'm going to end up ranting a little bit.
Okay.
But, we'll go through only 23 awards this year, obviously, because they condensed the sound categories. But if we run through from bottom to top, not necessarily in the order that they were presented in, but we will get to that. And see how we did and what we thought of what did win. And
you take the lead, Matt. Go ahead.
Okay. What funny order. Let's just start with the animated short. The winner was the Netflix film If Anything Happens, I Love You. It's sort of like a abstracty thing about a school shooting. We both predicted that.
Not surprising, to be honest, in America with shootings. That was not a surprise.
Yeah, that's pretty much why I voted for it, if I'm honest. And same for the next one up, which was the live action short film. It went to Two Distant Strangers. Again, it's about a man who lives a recurring nightmare, like a Groundhog Day, where he gets shot every day by the same policeman, no matter what he does or what he changes.
Again, huge after George Floyd last year.
Absolutely. It directly references George Floyd in the film as well, lots of other names. So again, we both predicted those correctly and no surprises. Sticking to the shorts, documentary short, we both got wrong.
Yeah, I mean, we never get all four.
No, there's always something, isn't there?
Animated and live action shorts and documentaries, we always get them wrong somewhere along the way. And this was that one this year.
Yeah, well, what's strange about this is that the film that won, which was called Colette, nobody was talking about. I have seen it, and I
didn't hear about that one.
It's just about I think she was 90 years old now, resistance fighter, French resistance fighter, and it's about her brother who was taken away to a concentration camp, and they go and visit the camp.
Okay, I mean, when you say it like that, I mean, okay, win.
But at the same time, looking at the films it was against, which we went different on this category. A Love Song for Latasha, again, shooting in America, and A Concerto as a Conversation was pretty much about discrimination, black discrimination. Unusual winner for the climate.
And leading on to Best Documentary then is another one that's quite different. It's not, I suppose in a way it's sort of a serious topic, but more trivial, I would say, in a sense.
Yeah.
It's not shootings or, that kind of thing. It's got a much nicer feel. And that's My Octopus Teacher, which won. And we both picked that one.
It's a good documentary, to be fair.
I haven't seen it yet, but I really do want to.
It's kind of like, like Free Solo was a bit of a quite specific topic.
Yeah.
This is kind of the same, and it is a bit long because you spend a lot of time just underwater. But
so it is
a fascinating look and a great nature documentary as well, if you will. Should we jump to international?
Yes, go
feature
for it.
film. Not a surprise here because Minari wasn't nominated because it was in the Best Picture instead, and this was another round, the Danish Thomas Vinterberg film.
I still feel like this doesn't feel like it would be an Oscar winner. I don't know why. It just doesn't. It just doesn't feel like it to me.
To be honest, I think there were at least one other strong fiction film in there, which was called Quo Vadis Aida, which I watched and I preferred marginally. But Another Round it's just a lot of fun. It does get you thinking, on the surface you think, why is a film about binge drinking sort of, being promoted? And when you actually watch it, you think, and you realise that actually there's a really good message about it, really sort of balanced message about just all sorts.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah. And we both got that one correct as well. So far we both got 4 correct. And not for long. Best animated film next, and that was a no-brainer.
Yeah, no, absolutely no surprise.
Yeah.
It was always going to be Soul.
Soul, yeah. I did think that if there was going to be not an upset, because I would have wanted it, but Wolf Walkers, I feel like a lot of people would have been an upset, maybe would have voted for it.
Yeah, it would have been, because everyone was expecting Soul, and with that kind of message and the themes of the film, it was going to win.
And it's Pixar, and they had 2 nominees this year as well, which is just goes to show you can't beat Pixar.
Nope.
Something will one day. Next, going into the more Sonic categories, if anything, I thought this one was a bit weird. Best Original Song, and I think this was the most upset I was of the night.
Yeah.
Because I just thought what won here was the Fight For You song from Judas of the Black Messiah, which on the podcast I said was bottom of the pile. And it's such a plain song. It's nothing bad about it.
It must be the message. It must have been the message that kind of got to people.
The lyrics are kind of just repetitive, so they don't really say a lot. But against things like what we voted for, which was Speak Now from One Night in Miami, and even things like Husavik from Eurovision, which is a really good song.
That's a lovely song, actually. I haven't seen that movie yet, but I would watch it based just on that little tiny, 10-second clip they showed you.
Elevates the film. It's a very silly film. About a silly subject, which kind of, in a way,
but the music
then
pulls
gets away
it
with
up.
it. But a bit disappointing that one.
Yeah.
People were very shocked in the room when that happened.
Yeah. And then Score, this is kind of different because this went to Soul. You never usually get an animated movie winning Score. I mean, I don't know. Has that happened before? I'm not sure. I
honestly don't know.
It's not something I recognise really. But I mean, this again, not really a surprise.
No.
When you think it's a film about jazz. So it kind of makes sense.
Well, yeah, it sort of had the jazz side of things. And then there's the guy from Nine Inch Nails, I think, who did all the electronic stuff. Again, sorry, I can't remember. One of them's Atticus Ross and somebody else. I need to look into that. But they were nominated twice.
Yeah, I noticed he was there twice, yeah.
Not that it was a weak category, but completely.
It kind of was compared to what we've had in the past.
Yeah, that's true.
Definitely. And then sound. This was a
so
no-brainer to me. Absolute
this
no-brainer.
is the easiest one of the night.
Yeah, Sound of
100%.
Metal. I mean, it's a film about a man who goes deaf. I mean, and what they did in that movie was nothing short of spectacular. So it was always going to win.
And Riz Ahmed presenting it as well. Again, bit of a weird choice.
I loved the smile though when he opened the envelope before he said it was lovely.
Yeah, that was really, really good. We could probably do the next two together.
Yeah, so best costume design and best hair and makeup. I think this was kind of obvious, but not obvious. So it went to Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. I think, especially costume, could have very easily gone to Mank.
Because something else.
Yeah.
I thought the makeup might have gone to Pinocchio, but I thought, no one's going to have seen it.
Yeah, no, it's just not got the level of...
It just didn't have the visibility.
But it was just, the visibility, exactly.
No one saw it.
Yeah.
But we got both of those right as well. So just as a tally so far, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that's 9 we got right so far out of 11. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I thought the next 2 awards were very obvious too. Mm-hmm. So production design, as we said, most likely to go to Mank, and it did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you putting old Hollywood up on the screen, you'd have to do something really spectacular to beat it.
Things like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I'm sure, won. Mm-hmm. Lots of other similar Hollywood-themed films have won that in the past.
Something that's big and you're just showing a whole world.
Yeah. And best visual effects, also again, not really a surprise. Question. This went to Tenet. And what I like about this is that it's not, or at least when the film was coming out, we were told that there was only like 300 visual effects shots in the film, but it's easy to forget this is also a special effects category too, so a lot of the practical effects that they did, which I think absolutely tipped it over the edge. And it's a phenomenal film in that regard, even if in no other regard. It's great to watch. And then
we differed a bit.
Yes, so the next category was best editing, and to explain, I went for The Trial of the Chicago 7,
which I totally get.
Yeah, it's the most edited film, and I thought back to last year's Ford versus Ferrari, the year before when it went to Bohemian Rhapsody, all big cutty films, and I just thought Sound of Metal, it had something going for it because the sound, was kind of linked in, and they accentuated what editing there was there, and it was a well edited film. But they went with your choice, which was Sound of Metal, which I was thrilled about, but really annoyed because I didn't get it right.
You had not gone with that one,
and I should have had faith in it. But and afterwards, I kind of went, why didn't I do that? And I thought, no, I know why I didn't do that.
Yeah, I know why you didn't do it. I was so close to putting The Trial of Chicago 7 myself.
Yeah,
it was a hard one to pick. It was one of the last ones that I actually put down. I was really struggled with that one.
But I'm really pleased that it won. I just wish it won more.
Yeah,
on
I
the
know.
Night. And then the next one, probably in most people's eyes, this is the biggest upset, although it's not a category that you get upset about, really, which is cinematography. And I think everyone, everywhere was predicting Nomadland.
Yeah. I mean, it was perfectly obvious just by looking at a clip of it why it would have been that one. Yeah,
just really expert, skilled. Yeah. You could tell. And it went to Mank, which I get. Honestly, I do get it.
Yeah, I get it as well. I do
get the style, and it was almost Wes Anderson-y in the way that it sometimes did structured shots and stuff like that.
Yeah, totally get it, but it was just a big surprise.
Yeah, and I think because people didn't really like that film very much, I didn't expect it to get more than just the one award.
Yeah.
So at this point, a lot of people were thinking, oh, poo, what's going to happen with Nomadland? Some people were thinking, is it only going to go away with 2 awards tonight instead of 4, instead of 3? And I guess we'll see. So
we will.
Next up, we're into the writing categories. Yes. And the first award was...
Best Original Screenplay. And we knew it was coming, and I was thrilled. And I knew it was going to be the only award it won on the night, but I'm still chuffed to bits, and it was Promising Young Woman. absolutely thrilled to bits because I'm sorry, but it is so original, and that's the main thing that I came out of the movie with. Wow, that is so original, and we needed that.
Yeah, it was like when Get Out won. I kind of link it with that in my head.
Exactly. Yeah, just like that. It felt like that. I'm so pleased it won.
And Emerald Fennell's really, she's really fun to watch.
She was lovely, and I don't think I've seen her in anything before or talking. So when she came out like really, really posh British, I was like, oh my god.
Oh, when you see her as Camilla Parker Bowles,
I know. See, I haven't seen that season yet, so I was just like, oh wow.
She's done all sorts at the moment. I think she's one of the executive producer on Killing Eve series 2.
Oh, wow.
She's doing the Cinderella musical with Andrew Lloyd Webber.
So she's just pretty fab then, basically.
Yeah, I'm sure she's writing something. Isn't she going to do a superhero film? I know Chloe Zhao's doing the same.
I'm not entirely sure.
I have a feeling I read that. Sorry if I got that wrong again. The next one, adapted screenplay. Again, a lot of people thought Nomadland.
I'm pleased.
To The Father, which I changed to in the end because I just thought, story.
It was just so good. And what they did with dementia and for dementia, showing it from both sides, and using the sets and all that. The whole thing is just so superbly put together. Yeah. I'm really pleased it won.
How much is it adapted? I don't know.
Because it's from this play, isn't it?
Straight from the play. But
what he did was use the camera. That was where he was adapting, really, I think, not just the dialogue. It's not just
dialogue,
it was the actual set itself and how that was used. I think that really plays up what he did.
Mm-hmm. And again, because Nomadland didn't win here, I think some people were thinking, oh, okay.
Yeah, what's going to happen?
This Promising Young Woman or The Father or even...
Yeah.
Not Mank, but is Mank gonna
not Mank
somehow turn up?
Not Mank.
So that was the writing, and then we get into
the acting
and supporting roles. I think definitely went to the right people.
Yes,
of the bunches, and supporting actress. I just love her so much.
I love her. She was like, Brad Pitt.
So when Brad Pitt presented the award to her, and she said, "Where were you? Where were you when we were filming?" It's because he was one of the producers on the film.
Yeah,
for Minari. She's lovely. I so hope we get to see a lot more of her. She just comes across
so nice. She really did.
You can tell she's not really from the world of the Oscars, really.
She's not Hollywood.
She's an outsider. She doesn't really care in a good way.
Yeah, absolutely. And she's like of an age where she's just like, I'll just do what I want.
And that's exactly like her character, which is why she was such a good pick. So really, really pleased for that. That's Yoo Jung-yoon, by the way.
And then supporting actor went to Daniel Kaluuya. I mean, yes, deserved. Yeah, get it.
Yes.
But I just really don't like him. I don't know what it is. He just has this like swagger. He just looks like a complete prick. he really does. As soon as they like showed him, he just had this like straight up like
he sort of has this really like moody look on him. I don't know whether he thinks it's cool or whether he's just a bit shy or something.
I don't know, but whatever it is, I don't like it.
But then he can be really funny and really like sort of outrageous, and he was obviously bringing up that his mum and dad created him and things like that, which I thought was really funny, and I was laughing out loud. But yeah, he's like a seesaw.
Yeah, and goes to his own beat, doesn't he? Really?
Yeah. But all that aside, a great win for the Brits there. We're very talented British actor.
And then off the Brits.
Yeah, so Best Actress.
Yeah.
The most sort of talked about category of the whole season, really, because it went to so many different people. You
went for Carey Mulligan, which I would have loved to go for, but I just did not think she was going to get it, even though I think she deserved to get it. I went with Frances McDormand, who did eventually win it. The only good thing I can say about this is her speech was really short, which I very much appreciated.
Yeah.
I'm not saying she didn't deserve it, because it was almost a bit like The Revenant, but obviously not to that extreme. She lived the part, you know. She went and did those things and lived it. So I can see why she won, and she's at 3 now.
Yes,
so one more, and she's tying the most with Katharine Hepburn. So
I did go for Carey Mulligan, thinking that people will vote for what they liked, but then I think on reflection, maybe some people might not have liked the message of promising young woman.
Yeah, there's still an overwhelming amount of the Hollywood system and the Oscars that are men.
Yes, older
white men. So I'm sure that the bashing men message sort of did not go across very well with them.
Well, my personal pick was Frances McDormand, so I was really happy that she won. But again, it was like the editing. I was like, yes. Oh.
Yeah. And then actor.
The next one, actor. Again, in the last couple of days, it had been up in the air that the father came out and people were talking about it.
I mean, I get what happened. I think we should maybe discuss what happened here and bring it into this, because there was some interesting decisions.
Yes, producial decisions.
Yeah. So basically, the gist of it is they moved the awards around. That was the big thing. They moved Best Picture to before the actors, which was a strange move. No idea why, because it takes the big moment away.
Yeah,
and they, like you said, it's almost like they tried to predict the award, and they thought Chadwick Boseman was going to get a posthumous award, and it would be a great big
tribute.
Yeah, but he did not win. It went to Anthony Hopkins. So they tried to predict it, made a risk, and absolutely epically failed. So that was the last award, and Anthony Hopkins wasn't there.
Yes.
So
this is
oh my God, it was.
This in itself was awkward.
Yeah,
and it just ended. But what was more awkward is what some of the producers have come out today and said that the original plan was, if Anthony Hopkins was going to win, that Olivia Colman on the telecast in London was going to accept the award. But obviously they must have thought,
so much
we've
better.
run over, so let's just end it there.
Oh my God, terrible
it was
decision.
So awkward. And
just
the
ended.
people of the internet were very upset. I was quite upset. I mean, we sat through 3.25 hours and it just ended.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of other things we'll mention as well that led up to this really anticlimactic moment.
Yeah.
And it just felt awkward. It must have been really awkward for Anthony Hopkins, the way it went down. I think it must have been really awkward for Chadwick Boseman's family.
Yeah, and for Joaquin Phoenix as well. The poor guy just had to say, we take it on his...
did really well this year, you know.
Yeah,
I thought
he did.
In other years he's been a bit odd.
Yeah, it was almost normal this year, It was very good.
Yeah. Must be whatever role he's doing at the moment.
So obviously, we're leading on to Best Picture, which had already been, which was Nomadland, which we expected.
Yes.
But it was shoehorned in.
Treated as any other below the line award.
But everybody got up and went on stage and did the moment, but then there were more awards afterwards. So it wasn't like that big moment. It was really weird.
And because Frances McDormand was a producer and she, spoke when they accepted the award and then won in the next award.
That's why she had nothing to say.
But
it was a great speech. I did like it. Nice and short and sweet. It was good.
But again, they shouldn't try to preempt winners because they just shot themselves in the foot 4 times in a row.
And it looked like it as well. It was so obvious that what they tried to do, they tried to make predictions and it hadn't worked.
So bad. The other one, the director award, which again, they usually have fourth from last, it's part of the big six.
It was a lot earlier.
Maybe eighth in?
Yeah, it was really early considering. But I like to lead up to the big ones though, because that's still a big one. And then it takes the impact away, I think. Yeah. That when they moved those awards around, it limited the impact that they made. Yeah. So this went to Chloe Zhao for Nomadland, obviously.
Yeah, really well deserved.
Yeah, we knew that was going to happen.
She's not lost anything.
No.
At least of the major awards, I don't think she's lost a single thing.
And I think I haven't been on and looked at the internet yet because obviously I haven't had time. I came straight on here. But it went to a woman.
Yes.
So nice. It's gone to a woman. So I hope that's something that they're talking about.
And non-white.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, as well. I mean, it's huge. It's a huge milestone. It shouldn't be, but it is.
No. It wouldn't matter so much if we weren't 93 years in.
Yeah.
Not us personally, that would be insane. In 93 years, it just doesn't sit right. Even if you are going by, the best person should win, which is, I agree, should always be the case, but it just doesn't sit right.
It just doesn't sound right, does it? So yeah, I mean, in terms of the show, like we say, the set was good for the most part. Most of the show, and you put this yesterday, you said 2/3 of it are great, but then it was a car crash at the end. I wouldn't go so far as a car crash. It wasn't like La La Land bad.
I think it was a car crash in comparison to the other 2/3. It was just like it was a completely different show. Everything just went out the window.
Yeah, my biggest grievance, apart from the changing the awards around, was the DJ. What the hell was they were thinking with that?
Apparently,
there was like a DJ like doing stuff at the back, and like it was over the top of things. I was just like, oh, what the hell? Just shut up. Oh, and he closed the show as well. That was probably the best thing he did, to be honest.
So this is Questlove, whose name I recognise, but honestly, I don't personally know who he is.
No.
And I would have liked to have had clips from the music of the films for the going up,
and sticking with a musical theme. The trivia game. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I skipped the entire thing as soon as I realised what he was doing. I was like, nope.
You will have to go back and watch it just to get the Glenn Close bit. It's
oh my god!
I thought it was horrifically cringy, and it's. I don't know if it was. I assume it was pre-scripted.
I can't watch cringe, so I just had to skip. I just went no.
The thing is, it got me thinking. Like, one of the reasons why did this in the end feel very flat, and we'll go on to this with the viewing figures so low. And I don't think it's just down to the types of films or the COVID or anything. Sometimes it's about something's advertised. You know, when Sound of Music had its I don't know what it was, 50th. I can't remember now.
50th it was, yeah.
Yeah. And Lady Gaga, you know, we knew something was going to happen, you know, that there was going to be a celebration, and we got Lady Gaga and the songs, and then we got Julie Andrews, and she presented an award.
Cried.
Yeah, something like that, you know, that gets bums on seats, and that gets people happy and talking.
There's an anniversary every year, just pick one.
Absolutely.
You know, just pick a film.
Just pick one.
You know.
Yeah. West Side Story, for example.
Yeah, I mean, they really could have pushed that. Just
something to tie us into cinema, and the other thing was the fact that every time they were reading off the nominees, there's no clips of anything.
Yeah, they're trying to shorten it,
but they didn't.
They're cutting down. I think they're trying to cut down everything they possibly can, and that leads me into the In Memoriam. Oh my god, what a disaster!
Although the DJ and the trivia game bit was
horrendous,
bad, I could see the fun in it, I suppose.
Yeah,
but the In Memoriam was something that should have been taken seriously.
Somebody should have looked at it and gone, this doesn't work, do it again.
Just to put it in context, first of all, it was a very upbeat song, which was just unusual.
It was a celebration of life type of song.
Yeah, rather than a remembrance or a reflection of loss, which is fine, but it would have been so bad.
And it's not meant to do that.
if they hadn't have sped the whole thing up
to
about 600 times what should have been. And you couldn't read the names.
No, it was so it was almost to the beat. Some of the pictures
going some were slightly longer and short. It was like it was done on like Windows Movie Maker or something.
It was horrible. What was so horrible about it is it was really disrespectful.
It did feel that way, didn't it?
Yeah, it was horrible.
I can tell you, everybody on Twitter was just like, what the actual fuck were they thinking?
I know. Somebody should have looked at that and gone, no, this does not work.
I wrote on Twitter, it was edited as fast as the Trial of Chicago 7. It could have won the editing Oscar.
Yeah, it could.
It was really weird.
Bad decision.
I think it's left a general sense that we really want to get back to normal. And just to hope that next year's better. I mean, looking at the viewing figures, which were released today.
I couldn't believe the drop. That was a drop.
Yeah, so just, again, putting it into context, I don't even need to go back very far to show the difference. But last year was an all-time low in terms of viewing figures, and it was about 23 million, which is still quite a lot. You know, it's still okay. It's just less than the 40 million that it was in 2014 or whenever it was.
Yeah.
This year it was a 58% drop to less than 10 million.
That is
viewers.
Huge.
I can't pinpoint the exact reason.
I think I can. I think it's a culmination of two factors. One, that people aren't able to go out to the cinema.
So
it's on the back. Yeah, it's on the back.
Adverts for films.
Yeah, no, it's on the back burner. People have to go out looking for these things. You've got to be a really avid watcher, and I'm one of the people who did not get invested this year in the film world. I did not get invested, and I was too busy reading books, to be frank. But you know what I mean? I just, because it wasn't around me and it wasn't, there.
Yeah, it's like cinema minus the cinema building, isn't it?
Yeah, so I think that was part of it. And also, obviously, just the just the pandemic in itself. Everything's so different, and it wasn't going to be big, and not everybody was going to be there. It wasn't going to have the stars. People go to see the stars. They watch the red carpet. As much as it's cringy and people hate it, that's what half of the viewers are looking at. They want to see the stars.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, the red carpet was like a tiny little thing. I actually fell asleep during the red carpet. But,
yeah, it's supposed to be this huge event, and people will have known in advance it wasn't going to be, so they just skipped it this year. Yeah. I think that's the culmination of it, to be honest. They just thought it wasn't big enough.
Yeah, slightly disappointing, I think. But considering the year that we've had, and we thought this time last year that there would be no films,
it was never
that the Oscars would be cancelled,
yeah,
all this stuff. Actually, there's a really, really, really strong mix of films here. For example, I think the acting categories are some of the strongest they've ever been in any individual year. Really diverse.
Definitely diverse, yeah, definitely.
It's just a bit of a aftertaste because of the
choices.
Weird choices that I don't know if it was Steven Soderbergh who made them because he produced the show,
maybe.
But I don't think he'll be asked back.
No. And moving on to a different Steven.
Yes.
To me, a more important Steven Soderbergh, Steven Spielberg. Okay, so I've just watched it. I watched it after this, before we came on to here. I've literally just watched it.
West Side Story.
I will be really honest with you. I was not looking forward to this. I just thought, why are we getting a West Side Story film when the original, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's a classic. What are you touching it for?
Yeah.
But I watched it and actually really, really liked it.
It's the locations, I think, that will really
and the music. The music's, it's classic music. It's as soon as that comes on, you just you get the goosebumps, and it actually looks like it's weird because it's set in the past. It's like set in the 50s, but it feels fresh. It's almost like they've revamped the 1960s West Side Story.
Really sort of clean, modern digital look.
Yeah, and Maria and Tony actually look the parts. I always felt like Natalie Wood was an outlier in that film. She just shouldn't have been there. But she really looks the part. Yeah. This really looks absolutely fantastic. I actually can't wait to see it now. And it's not one of my favourite musicals. I'm not a Stephen Sondheim fan, really. This would be my favourite of his, probably, but I'm more a Rodgers and Hammerstein girl.
Oh yeah. One thing that I noticed, and not for every shot that we saw in the trailer, and obviously I can't speak for the film because we haven't seen it. Some parts did look a little bit like they would be shot for shot, and not all of them, but a lot of parts. But then I thought, you've got to try and think, it's not necessarily a remake of the film, it's another adaptation of the play.
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily shot for shot. It's more
just looks very similar.
It's more the scenes. Yeah, I think it's scene
the scenes
for scene.
And set pieces are kind of
it's more scene for scene. Like you saw the dance there, and you saw the the gangs meeting up.
Yeah, I think of the bit with jumping over the barbed wire, but it's a very stylized thing anyway.
There's so many things you'll have wanted to keep.
Yeah,
that you just expect to be there, and it's an homage as well to the original. It's not. He's not come out and said, right, I want to make a whole new film and it's going to be completely different. That's not what he wanted to do.
But I hope that it is different enough.
Yeah,
but I think looking at the locations and the sets,
just looking at the cast as well. Looking at the cast, it's going to be different. I think it'll feel more grounded, to be honest, in that actual, diverse people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, which obviously the original kind of lacked
a little bit. A little bit.
A tiny bit. I do think, and it might be one of those things where we talk about it now and we never hear about it at the Oscars next year. But it does seem at this point that it would be a big, not contender necessarily for Best Picture, but it will be in there for the technical awards and the production design.
It will be
costume.
discussed.
I don't know if they'll do an original song. They probably will.
Oh, I hope not. I just stick with Sondheim. He's just stick with Sondheim. He knows what he's doing.
I think they'll give Rita Moreno a song.
Oh, maybe. Actually, now you say that, I wouldn't be adverse to that. That would be fine.
Be very interesting to see if she ends up back as a supporting actress nominee.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
So if she won for West Side Story and West Side Story.
Incredible.
Because that's never happened.
I mean, that would be 60 years down the line, 61 years down the line, she wins for the same movie. That would be so weird.
It's not impossible. I'm already
I'm rooting for it already. I'm rooting for that.
She might only be in it for like 5 minutes for all we know.
You've put it in my head, Matt. That is what I want to happen. That's it. You've put it in my head. I want it to happen. So that's it. That's our reflective look at the Oscars.
You did very well.
I did. I'm so pleased.
Clinched on those categories that were completely up in the air and there's no way of, you can't predict them.
Now, just to put this into perspective, so I got 19 out of 23 this year,
Yes.
and Matt, you got, was it 2 less? 17. Yeah. Okay, which is around about what I usually get. But just to put this into perspective, me and Matt have been watching the Oscars together since 2014, is it? Or was it 15?
I reckon we watched 14. That was
I think it was 14, yeah.
It might be 2015 the year, but 2014's films.
Yeah, so that's a lot of years now that we've been watching and putting up our kind of ballots. And I've never won in any year.
We've drawn.
We've drawn, yeah, but I've never won. Not to rub it in your face, Matt, but I am loving this.
Well, what I hope in a way is that now you've got, or whenever you do get around to watching the films, obviously I watched them before they were awarded, so I'd like to see and hear your thoughts on the winners.
Yeah, I should say that's my winning formula this year. Yeah, don't watch the films, just put your ballot in.
I'm not even going to watch any next year.
You might come out with all of them.
Can you imagine?
That's the winning formula. Don't watch the films and just put your ballot in.
I'm just happy now. I mean, I'm glad it's over. It sounds horrible to say,
we always are, aren't we, by the end of it, because it's such a long time.
I think there's 118 individual nominees across the categories, and I watched 107, which was about 46 films or something.
That is to be applauded. That's very much to be applauded.
I just like going in feeling like I know the playing field.
I think it's incredible because you have such a busy job. So the fact that you find the time to do it is incredible.
But now I'm off season. I'm off season.
Yes, you're off season. You can watch whatever you want now.
And one of the things that I said to my mum actually that we always have lists of films that are just on the list. We always say it's on the list, and until the Oscars have finished,
you never get around to your list. Yeah,
you sort of go, those things have been on the list forever. I really want to watch them now. Yeah,
you really do a long time for Oscars. You spend a lot of time on it.
And it's been a longer year waiting for it. Yeah. So maybe I'll watch E.T. or something that I haven't seen before.
What? You've never seen E.T.?
You know this.
Oh my God, Matt. No, I forget this thing. This is such a big thing. Yes, my God.
I did Home Alone. I did the other ones.
Right. Matt, get off this podcast right now and go and watch E.T.
We don't need to recommend a film. No, we recommended ours.
Just watch the Oscar films. Do what Frances McDormand said. Go watch all of the Oscar movies, but obviously not in a theatre because they're not open yet.
Yeah, ours are opening 17th of May.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to be out on the first day. I don't know if we're going to get things like The Father coming out.
Yeah, but go watch something.
I think A Quiet Place Part 2 is out in May.
Oh my God.
If people are interested.
I might go see that. That might get me out. Emily Blunt would get me out anywhere, I think, to be honest.
I'm sure she would.
She would.
Just as a general note, looking across the year, coming up, we've got A Quiet Place 2. We've got things like Jungle Cruise, No Time to Die, June, West Side Story, Mission Impossible 7's coming out, Death on the Nile. I might have been moved to next year, actually. But
there is some big movies because all of the big movies pretty much from last year got moved. There is some huge things coming out this year.
Black Widow is another one.
Just whether they come out, that's the thing. We've just got to hope and pray that they're able to get back to normal and able to bring them out when they've actually moved them to.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. So we'll leave it there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great place to leave it.
We had a bit of a change of schedule leading up to the Oscars, but we're going to be jumping back into schedule with multi-narratives.
We will.
Mid-May. Yes, mid-May.
I'll go with you, Matt. You're the one who does all the organisational skills. I will take it. I will take it from you. You tell me, I do.
Yeah, I've planned so far ahead. Anyway, thank you for listening. Let us know if you thought the same as us or any different.
You can email us as well.
Let
us know what you thought.
I thought this is just a joke now.
podcast@cinechat.co.uk.
Yes.
Send us an email and tell us what you think. Did your favourites win?
Yes. Did you get 23 out of 23?
I'd love to know.
I don't know anyone who did.
I've never met anybody who has, so let us know.
We've never done it.
We've never done it.
We've come close. But,
my God, that'll be a year to celebrate if we ever do
that. And then you'd regret not putting a bet on it.
I know, absolutely.
Yeah. I thought this year might have been the year. It wasn't the year. Anyway, so on that note, I think it is goodbye from me.
And it's bye from me.
I went first that time.
Yeah, you did. It was strange, but I liked it.
Anyway, bye.